I can't even live in my house anymore.
I love the
so many
pillow pets.
I know, but it's getting out of control.
I got a
Too many pets.
bandana for my dog right out here.
Really?
Columbus Avenue, yep. Very cute bandana for the dog.
Dog's this big. Saw Rosie yesterday.
She met Rosie for the first time yesterday.
Oh, Rosie.
This big.
She's very small.
Named for Rosalita.
I like small dogs.
Yeah, well, the big ones.
Because small.
Yeah.
Right.
Small everything.
And she jumps a little higher.
Oh, yeah. Airborne.
Rosa, I got that. See, that was a
Thank you.
Springsteen reference. Did you get that? I missed the Bon Jovi reference yesterday. I got the Springsteen reference today.
Excellent. So you said yesterday was the better of the 2 days.
Yes.
But it's still not a washout today. Totally all day, right?
Not totally all day, but you definitely need to plan ahead. I mean, if you're thinking, hey, let's get out on the boat today, you need to get in early because there's small craft advisory starting at 2 o'clock. We've also got a flash flood watch as the storms come in for parts of the area. So it is going to be nice to start. It just doesn't stay that way all day. Let's get going. First, suburbs, but getting started this morning at the park, we get the official reading 74 degrees. 68 is the dew point, and so the humidity is going to be increasing throughout the day. Sort of a sticky feel out in the atmosphere. Pressure's holding steady at this point, but a cold front is coming in, and it's going to stir up the atmosphere pretty dramatically through the afternoon. 73 for Staten Island. Right now, Brooklyn, you've got 71. So if you're headed out the door for a little walk this morning, temperatures are comfortable, but I think you'll feel the sort of soupy, humid air mass that's in place, and the heat will continue to build until the storm gets here. A flash flood watch in effect for all the areas in green goes into effect at 2 p.m. This is for the city, the boroughs, and everything north and west. So looks like the counties in north central New Jersey could get hardest hit with this storm because the futurecast is painting some real heavy downpours. But I will say that this front doesn't just hold the threat of flooding. It also looks like it could produce some very strong winds and the potential for small hail. Watch the futurecast and you'll see by the early afternoon, 2 o'clock, the first leading edge of the front gets in and sparks a few thunderstorms. As the thunderstorms come in, I think they'll be broken thunderstorms. It won't be a solid line until late tonight. So the first thunderstorms that come in for the early afternoon could be big, and they will be maybe isolated thunderstorms is the best way to describe them, and then it becomes widespread after about 6 o'clock this evening, and a line will come through as the front finally passes the area late tonight. Into early tomorrow, looks like a decent start to the work week. Really beautiful conditions for Monday, Tuesday, and even Wednesday. A mention of the beach forecast. If you're headed down the shore, the early part of the day is fine, but no, getting out on the boats, small craft advisory goes into effect at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Water temperatures will be in the mid-70s, and the wave heights could get up to 3 to 5 feet. Just to check really quickly on what's happening with the tropics, because this could affect our weather eventually, is Tropical Storm Irene. And while the storm still has a ways to go, the early projections, the spaghetti models is what we call them because it looks like spaghetti on there, bring the remnants of Tropical Storm Irene into New York City about a week from now. So we'll be watching it very closely for you. Here's the forecast. AccuWeather calling for warm and humid conditions, afternoon storms, and a high of 85 today. Tonight, temperatures in the upper 60s.
And I'm Phil Lipoff. That was a nice shot of the Empire State Building.
It was nice, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a nice day.
Yeah,
I'm willing it.
Half of it.
Right, I know.
We hear that there's some ugliness coming.
Yeah, so be prepared.
Enjoy the first half of the weekend day, I guess. Right, Amy?
Yes, today is going to be a glass half empty full and half...
what you said, sure.
Is half empty full?
Hey, I'm always
Can we
glad
go back
it's a glass.
45 seconds and start the whole thing over?
Today is going to be a glass half full day.
Rock
and
on.
the half full day starts right now. And then the second half is the half empty part. It's not going to be as pretty later on. A cold front is coming through, and that will change things for us through the afternoon. And at this point, it does look like it will be pretty stormy. The potential for some pretty strong storms exists as well. Temperatures are in the 70s for Long Island, and we do have some 60s showing up in the far northwest suburbs. North central Jersey today, heads up for you. Flood watch. It does extend into parts of New York City as well. So everybody needs to be ready for another round of rain coming in. But this round could produce some real damaging winds, the potential for small hail as well. Effective at 2 p.m., a flash flood watch for the areas in green. The boroughs are included in this in north central Jersey as well. Here's the cold front. We do have some time before it gets in. About 2, 3 o'clock, the storms will start north and west, and they'll push into the city and across the area through the evening hours. Here's a look at the day planner. Mid-80s and humid. The storms will continue until about 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. I'll have the rest coming up in AccuWeather in just a few minutes. Phil? Ricochet has also worked with special needs kids in the water and has taken part in fundraisers for disabled athletes.
That's fantastic.
Go.
That dog is talented. I was waiting
Right?
to see it go like this, and then I realized it doesn't have a thumb, so it wasn't going to be able to do that.
I saw that movie Soul Surfer.
Yeah,
about
I did
Bethany
not.
Hamilton.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Was it good?
Yeah, it was based on a true story. She's a very inspiring young woman, and she continues to surf today.
Now, she was the shark victim,
she was
the
the one
shark
attacked
bite
by a
victim.
shark.
Lost her arm, right?
Yes, the shark ate off
her
arm. Beautiful.
But she's
girl.
still surfing.
Yeah, she's still
Awesome.
surfing and very inspirational to many people. So it's a cool movie. We watched it.
You want to surf, you got to do it the first half of this day, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
If you're headed to the beach, which is fine for the early part of the day, just be aware that we have storms coming in. You'll want to make sure not only you're out of the water, but also boats out of the water. There's a small craft advisory. Starting about 2 o'clock, the storms will move in. So it's a cold front that we're waiting for outside right now. You can see beautiful start to the day. Just don't be deceived because the weather is going to change as we get into the afternoon. A few clouds out there right now, and temperatures are in the 60s and 70s. Really depends on where you are. The further away from the city you get, the cooler it is. So we've got, mid 70s here in the city right now, but out in the outlying suburbs, temperatures are in the 60s. As the day gets going, you can see over the meadow right here, it's got sort of a little hazy sunshine as we start out this day. And the current conditions show that the readings are in the mid 70s, but the pressure is holding steady in front of this cold front. We'll start to see it falling, and that will be an indication of things changing through the middle part of the day. So partly sunny with winds that are calm out there right now. Temperatures 75 in the Bronx, 64 in Sussex, 61 in Monticello. Those are the cooler temperatures we're talking about as this day gets underway. Flash flood watch effective at 2 p.m. for the areas in green. I want to give you a close-in look at this because New York is included, also the boroughs. Many places getting a lot of rain on Friday night, and so you know that when the rain comes down, those low-lying areas that typically flood can be a real problem. Here's the cold front that's coming in right now. The computers are indicating that these storms could produce 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in a short amount of time. Now, when thunderstorms continue over the same area over and over again, we can get even more rain than that. So the storm is still back here to Rochester. We have plenty of time for the early part of the day to get out and enjoy it, get some things done, but the computer does show us that by 2 o'clock, the leading edge of the storms affects the northern counties, and then between 2 and 7 p.m. the storms will be isolated across the area. The big line of thunderstorms coming in later on tonight around 10 o'clock, and then the storm system clears the area for early tomorrow morning. Here's the sea and sand forecast if you're headed to the beach. Southwest winds 10 to 15 knots, waves 3 to 5 feet. Temperatures in the water are in the mid 70s. A small craft advisory at 2 o'clock, so eye to the sky if you're going to be out watching. Tropical storm Irene out here in the Atlantic, and the early indications from this computer model is we have about a week to prepare, and we'll be watching this one because the long-term models do bring it with at least its leftovers to the East Coast. Still plenty of time to watch this one, but something to file in the what to watch in the weather book. All right, warm and humid today. Afternoon storms, the AccuWeather forecast, 85. Temperatures do fall into the upper 60s tonight. It'll be sticky and stormy with heavy downpours across the area. Tomorrow, less humid, a mix of sun and clouds, a beautiful way to start the work week, 82 degrees. And then tomorrow night, cool and beautiful, 64. The overnight lows will be in the 60s much of the week. And after we get through the storms tonight, looks like a great start to the work week. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, temperatures are in the low 80s. The next warm day looks to be on Thursday with a high of 86. So temperatures this week will just be a few degrees shy of the averages for this time of year. Make sure you have your umbrella if you're going out for the whole day. You may need it for the second half of the day.
Right. Good deal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Amy, thank you.
Maybe plan on a movie.
Yes.
Tonight. Before we go to break, let's look at today's Channel 7 community calendar. Speaking of making plans for this Sunday, here's what's happening.
August 21st, 2011, heading into what for many is like kind of the last real week. You know, before they have to get things ready for the kids to go back to school and all that stuff.
Can't stand it.
So let's just enjoy the week, right?
Right.
Thanks for being with us. I'm Phil Lipoff.
And I'm Michelle Charlesworth. Welcome to the 7 o'clock hour of Eyewitness News. Sunday morning. Not a bad day yesterday. Gorgeous. Really warm.
Beautiful
nice.
yesterday, and it's starting off to be a nice day today. The question is, what happens late in the afternoon, Amy?
Yeah, good morning to the both of you. As summer slips away from us, we got to make the most of every day, and it looks like the first half of this Sunday is going to be just fine as we await a cold front. The normals for this time of year, 82 and 68. The records for this date, 96 and 53. Sunset time is 7:45 tonight. By then, we'll have storms in the area. Right now, for Long Island, temperatures are in the low to mid 70s, and as we get into the afternoon, I think we're going to hit the mid 80s pretty easily. It's going to feel very muggy outside today, so a typical summer feel to the air, and then we'll see the storms moving in for this afternoon. A flood watch goes into effect at 2 o'clock this afternoon for the rest of this evening. It it includes New York, the boroughs, a little bit of Long Island. Really, the northwest suburbs, I think, are going to get hardest hit with these storms as they move in. And we just had a round of rain, so all the water levels are pretty high and the soil a bit saturated, even though we got one good day to dry out. Here's the cold front, and right now the storms are still back into Rochester, so we've got some time. Early half of the day is going to be just dry and humid, a few clouds in the area, but by early this afternoon, the leading edge of the storms will make it their way into the suburbs, and then the cold front itself, which does pack the biggest punch, comes in late tonight, and that will create widespread rain across the area. So the day planner, early part looks good, humid by 2 o'clock, storms develop, and it's stormy tonight in the low 80s in New York City. I'll have more coming up in the AccuWeather forecast in just a few minutes. Michelle?
All right, thank you so much, Amy.
So a few degrees shy of the average as we start off. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday all looking really good at this point. If it's your vacation week or you're taking off this sort of last full week of August, weather really cooperating for the early part of the week. Beautiful conditions Tuesday into Wednesday. Then by Thursday it'll be warmer and more humidity coming back into play. So as always, you can get the 5-day forecast no matter where you are at 7online.com.
I love doing that on my phone, my smartphone.
Yeah, it's easy.
Which makes me look smart. I go like this.
Brilliant.
I'll let you know what's
Maybe that's
going
why
on.
they call
Absolutely
it that.
brilliant.
Your smartphone makes you smarter. Ow.
You didn't flinch.
I wasn't expecting 136. Go Rochester.
Dodge, duck, dive. You remember that from Dodgeball? I like to train by having someone throw wrenches at my head. Isn't that awesome? He's in a wheelchair,
Dodgeball,
screaming. It's good times.
I like the movie too.
Yeah.
One of
it's good
Michelle's
stuff.
favorite, I think.
You know,
Is that
really.
Will Ferrell, Dodgeball?
Yeah. No. The other guy who had a fake mustache. Who?
Huh? Ben Stiller.
Yeah, Ben
yes,
Stiller.
Thank you.
Ben Stiller.
Brilliant.
Zoolander. He hates it when people bring that up, I bet.
Oh my gosh, she thought you were going to throw something at her. She ducked. That's what we've gotten to on this show at 7-Eleven. People are ducking.
Right? Yeah, well, the thing is, as a kid in Dodgeball, you know, I was a flincher. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, you were the flincher?
Yeah, I was a flincher.
There's always one in the bunch.
Yeah, you're going to flinch when you hear this. All of Sunday is not going to be as good as Saturday was. The first half is looking decent, but there's a cold front coming in, and it's going to really stir things up this afternoon. In fact, we're looking at the possibility of some flooding and also some severe storms making their way into the area after 2 o'clock this afternoon. So let's get started out there right now. It looks pretty good. If you're going to be out walking the dog or on your way to church this morning, you've got a thin layer of clouds looking over the park. You can see the reservoir, absolutely gorgeous. Temperatures have been in the 60s and 70s this morning. So overnight, we didn't cool off a whole lot. 73 in the park right now, 67 for the dew point, the humidity 81%, and the southwest winds at 5 miles an hour. The pressure's holding steady. The northwest suburbs are the cool spot. So we have 67 up at Hopewell Junction. Montgomery has 63. Port Jervis, 65 degrees for you. Coastal Connecticut, 66 for Stamford. And as we get into the afternoon, we'll make it into the mid-80s. That's just enough heating to trigger and fire up the thunderstorms. So expect severe storms to be a possibility after 2 o'clock. The main threats with the storms are damaging wind and large hail, but an isolated tornado can't be ruled out in a storm system like this. We're going to get some cells that develop ahead of the front, and then we're going to get a line of thunderstorms. And because there's a lot of water coming, a flood watch, it goes into effect at 2 o'clock this afternoon. New York City is included in this. And after all the rains that we've had, it does pay to be vigilant as the storms come through. Low-lying areas, flood-prone areas likely to get another soaker from this. The line of storms is pretty uniform, but ahead of the storms, we'll get a few storms popping maybe as early as 2 o'clock this afternoon. So the main line is back in Rochester right now, but on Futurecast, you'll see as early as 2 or 3 o'clock in the northwest suburbs. We have a few storms popping up. Those storms can be just as potent as the cold front itself because they can really get the winds churning in them, produce some hail and the possibility of even damaging winds. The front itself makes its way through the city about 10 o'clock tonight, and then it clears out, making the way for really beautiful conditions as we head into the work week. So the beach forecast, you can go. Just be aware that early this afternoon we could see some changes. Southwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Waves 2 to 3 or 3 to 5 feet. Much different than yesterday's 2 to 4 feet. So we'll see the waves picking up. Water temperatures are in the mid 70s, but a small craft advisory does go into effect at 2 o'clock. You'll be reading about Tropical Storm Irene. These are the long-term projections. This is called the spaghetti model, and it gives us the most likely path of Irene. By Friday, it could be making landfall, or at least making its way way into Florida. That means we've got about a week or so until the leftovers of Irene could even be a possibility of affecting the East Coast. We'll be watching that. Today, warm and humid with afternoon storms, a high of 85. The AccuWeather forecast for tonight, sticky and stormy, 69 the overnight low. And then tomorrow, beautiful start to the work week, a mix of sun and clouds, less humid, 82.
Hey. Meteorologist Amy Freeze is here now with the first look at this morning's weather. Hi, Amy.
Hey. Good morning to the both of you. Hello, everybody. As we get started, the first half of this Sunday is really going to be nice. The second half, not so nice as the cold front is coming through. So get us up to speed. Here's the measuring point, 82 and 68, the normals for this time of year. The record 96 set back in 1955. Sunset time is at 7:45. And around the boroughs, temperatures in the low to mid 70s. Feels kind of sticky outside, a little humid, and that will help fuel the storms later today. 60s for the northwest suburbs, down the Jersey Shore. Belmar still at 68 degrees. Toms River currently at 70. Here's the flood watch. It's going into effect at 2 o'clock, mainly north and west of the city, but New York itself is included in this. The cold front is just making its way to Rochester. We have some time before the storm gets here. Probably after 2 o'clock, the far northwest suburbs will see some storms moving in, but the day planner sort of works out like this. Temperatures in the low 70s through 8 o'clock. 85 and humid through the afternoon. Then the storms get going and the rain becomes widespread by about 7 o'clock. With the showers that do develop, severe thunderstorms are possible. Strong winds, hail, even the possibility of some tornadoes as this front pushes across the northeast. We'll be watching the forecast very carefully. All the rest of the details coming up in the AccuWeather forecast in just a few minutes.
Going to start off as nice as yesterday, yes, but then we kind of go downhill.
Yes, yes.
Yes, the first half of the day is just fine for outdoor plans.
No, I just had like
Yes,
a
ma'am.
channeling. What was
What
that
is
show?
the military
Crank Anchors. I just had a crank anchor. That was an old show, right? Yes, yes. Anyway, forget about all of that.
I always
Let's
get her
hear the weather.
references. We're going to have to do this
Yes.
during the break, I'm sorry.
I know, sorry.
Good morning, everyone. Hello. And yes,
Hello.
the first half of the day is going to be nice. The second half of the day will be stormy. So if you can get your outdoor plans done early, that's the best plan. That's the best bet. We are looking at some heavy rain possibility like this afternoon, some severe storm potential. Let's get started first with a live picture outside. You can see the clouds around. And this vantage point usually allows us to see north along the Hudson River up towards the George Washington Bridge. But you can see it's so hazy and soupy outside that the visibility is very limited. So expect it to feel sticky as you get outdoors this morning. A lot of humidity, but that moisture in the atmosphere is what helps fuel the storms. We also will get daytime heating, our temperatures making it into the mid 80s, and then a cold front comes in. So all those ingredients combine to make for stormy situations. Southwest winds are blowing right now at 5 miles an hour. That's ahead of the front. Once the front gets in here, we'll see that changing as well. Right now, temperatures in the low 70s for Long Island, Northport up to 74, and Gretna also has 74 degrees. We've got 60s for the northwest counties. White Plains currently at 69 degrees. Down the Jersey Shore, Belmar has 68. Toms River is currently at 70 degrees. Now, as we get into the afternoon, this flash flood watch goes into effect at 2 o'clock. The flash flood watch is for quick moving storms that, well, even slow moving storms, but a quick downpour that produces too much rain too quickly. It floods out streets, can cause problems in basements, all the typical flood prone problems that we get. Here's the front right here, north and west of New York, and we've got some time before it comes in. But once this front does arrive, it packs quite a punch. It has a lot of moisture with it, and it also has the potential to produce strong gusty winds, even damaging winds, and even some hail. Here's what the futurecast is showing us. Through the afternoon, the clouds will thicken up. Ahead of the front, about 3 o'clock, we're looking at storms starting to fire up. This is not the cold front itself, it's the storms ahead of the front. Then when the front actually passes us after 8 o'clock tonight, we'll see heavy rain widespread across the entire area. The storm system then exits by early tomorrow morning, and we start with a pretty nice work week. Here's the beach forecast. Southwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Waves are 3 to 5 feet, and water temperature is in the mid 70s. There's a small craft advisory starting at 2 o'clock, so if you're boating loading for the early part of the day. Make sure you get everything taken care of and in before the storms get going. I think probably at the shore of the coastal areas after 3 o'clock is when we'll start to see those storms across the area. Quick check of the tropics. This is important. We've got Tropical Storm Irene. This is the one that we'll be watching this week. About a week until it makes landfall in or expected to make landfall in and around the Florida area. So there's some big spaghetti models. It looks like a big plate of spaghettis. That's why they call it that. Are showing the projections of this cone potentially coming up the East Coast, and that would be about a week from now. So we'll be watching that forecast pretty carefully. Once again, as Tropical Storm Irene, yet to be named a hurricane out in the Atlantic. An AccuWeather forecast: warm and humid with afternoon storms. A high of 85 today. Tonight, temperatures in the upper 60s. A stormy, sticky night, but then tomorrow a refreshing day. 82 the expected high on Monday afternoon. Less humid. By Monday night, temperatures will just be in the mid-60s. In fact, much of this week, overnight lows in the 60s, meaning that we can turn down the AC or turn it off completely for some real beautiful nights. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, low 80s all 3 days. By Thursday, we're back to 86 with warmer, more humid conditions. The early part of the work week does look fantastic. Just getting through tonight, you'll need to not only have an eye to the sky, but also be prepared for what watches and warnings will be posted by the National Weather Service as the storms approach.
Yeah, important. Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Amy.